Hello, hello. Welcome. Hi. Got a slightly new layout. Make that hard to see. Still got the cam. Corner. Now the main actual. Using a different screen. Hopefully it's a little better, but Bacon and Ty. Welcome. Excellent. Howdy. Hello. Roast, hello also. Welcome. I just want to make sure. No. Leon. For the bit. Ice Jam, howdy. Puddings. Who won't? Wait, who won't what? Mic audio super low. Try. Oh, okay. Had me worried there. Can you guess who won? You can guess, of course. Tell you? Yes, I would. I mean, if you've seen the polls, it's not exactly mystery about this particular character. That's a fair assessment. Doing that. Also fair.
And you're gonna make one swell bear.
Leonard. You're having a swell day. New approach time. It was actually like really close on Insta. Twitter was less so. Have to remember. We Not letting you sub with Prime. Curse you, Bezos. I appreciate the thought, though. Joseph, hello. Welcome. Look at it. Haven't drawn any facial features yet. That's much easier to do. All the other subtleties come into play when you're like actually drawing facial features. Oh. Oh wait, oh yeah, it was wrong. I didn't know if you actually went to check the poll or not. Got distracted by but yeah, this is our little mystery. this would be a lot easier to draw his feet, but I kind of want to show that he's got big boots on. Got them Sora from Kingdom Hearts, but not anymore boots. Well, I'm gonna crop it out, but you guys will know. You'll know. Got them big old Kingdom Hearts 1 boots. A little tough. Face to round. Round as it currently. I don't like the point. Give him a silly hat. I give him a silly hat.
Yeah, man. I like being a bear.
Leonard, thank you. Maybe it just takes like some time or something. This work. Man. What a mistake this was. Move this further this way so I can really ignore problems that I was about to start. Here. I completely understand. Judgment-free zone. I know. Has been all over. He's a clumsy boy. I don't like this hand. Gotta fix. If I was a coward, I would just put the whole thing right and frame, but because I won't learn. I'm gonna say that actually. Thinner. Here. Wow. How old is he? That's a good question. I don't know. Not just, I'd say he's like 13. Curious to see what baby feels. We're on baby. That's another thing I'll have. You're on him as a kid, but not. There. Seeing him with shorter hair. Man, kind of looking forward. Not all his tattoos. Maybe I'll do like an abbreviated background. but it was kind of funny. Being both and Instagram. After that, second place. Twitter really Junior. See you later. A necklace. Sometimes these rings are can just every time. I'm bed. Been decided. Yeah. So many points. Okay. That. I was thinking of doing like the jazz cup line. I don't know if that counts as a 90s thing. You guys know. Cup. My mic is cutting out. Oh no. I think I was just too far away from it. Is that better? Like moved in my chair and then didn't also move the microphone. Amateur hour. But yeah, is the jazz cup thing, is that like a 90s? Count as a 90s? Watches and or is that like an 80s? I don't know when that became a thing. Essential. I wasn't sure if it was like one of those things that like what 90s and then like it was 90s by way of the 80s. Makes sense. Like it was a thing that existed in the 80s, but it wasn't. I didn't know if that down. Angle that I had to deal with. That is alright. Done. X-Files 90s? I'm like second guessing knowledge of when. You just happen to know all these dates, or are you like... Because if you just know them all, I'm very impressed. I don't remember at all. Maybe I'll give him. Lived through the 2000s and I couldn't tell you when things occurred. If you were to ask me if something happened in 2006 or 2008, I would have to throw my hand there and say, pick one, bro.
A fine kind of bear he turned out to be. He didn't even know how to act like a bear.
Crazy. Far too. That makes me. What was the episode about? I was like about to do that. That sounds bad. cutting out again. Oh no. I think I have to be like right up on this. There was like some firmware update stuff that happened. So it might be messing with that or something. Oh wait, I think it was that. I think that might have been it. Yep, that was it. Okay. The gain got turned like way down when I did the firmware update. Weird. I can hear it now though, so that means it should be a little louder for you guys. Hopefully not too loud. Nice. I'm glad it's better. We love a live troubleshoot. I've been like being extra with the figure here because I don't really want to do this background at all. In case you couldn't tell. Let's go with this, I guess. Don't I have another? Yeah. I think I have one more that I could use. I think it's that dark one that I passed just now, but I don't really want to use that. Alright, we'll just stick with these ones for now. Turn this to multiply so I can kind of sort of see those. Mega Man, hello! A Fresno Nightcrawler. Oh man, I might just do that because those things are cool. The place where I get a lot of my t-shirts has been recently doing, or they haven't really been doing it as much anymore these past couple days. But they were doing a lot of like cryptid stuff. And their whole thing is that they have 2 designs each day, and then they're gone forever. So it's like set as my like homepage or whatever, so that I don't miss what the fun thingies are each day. But I say all that to say, one of the more recent ones was a Nightcrawler shirt, Fresno Nightcrawler shirt. I think needs to be bigger. But yeah, I ordered one, so hopefully it'll be here soon. I'd love to have seen it. I will send you a photo when it comes in. So I think it's great. Oh wait, you listen to Illuminati, so you probably know the website. It's theyeti.com. I've been following them for a while because I really, really like their just their whole brand in general. Very nice. But if you are out there interested in t-shirts, this is not not like a sponsored thing, but you know, Yeti.com. Check them out. Pretty cool. This color maybe? Yeah, I think that works a little better. Can probably turn. Like a big moon up here. Oops. It's one of my tricks for drawing the moon. Draw a circle, duplicate it once, and then blur it, duplicate it again, put it on top of all those, blur it slightly less and set it to color dodge or something. You'll usually end up with a pretty cool moon. Just need something to kind of fill in these gaps in the back here. Keep picking the wrong colors, thinking I'm picking a new color. Jack Raiden, hello. And welcome. Works for lightsabers? Yeah, probably. What's happening? We're drawing a flashback again. And it's baby Roz. It is Roz, yes. Thought it was Cecil. As folks in the chat mentioned earlier, not grumpy enough to be Cecil. Not sad enough, I guess. To like find everything else. scribbling these in here. Turn them all down. Also, I can turn off this other thing now. I think I want this a little darker. So I can turn this. Turn. That might be fine. A little darker. Gonna put there. Put all these together. Color sketch stuff. Background. Oh, I almost forgot about the dark. Roz was a skinny one, yes. That's where all the tiger stripes come from. Always feels like not the right color. I use just the flat gray background. I think it'll look more like Roz once I start filling in the like hair color and the freckles and stuff. But he has like so many little details that it feels like it could be either going to be very easy to make him look like Roz or very difficult. I haven't figured out which one yet. Let me just turn this on for now. Completely like impossible to really convey in a like in a decent story. But I was thinking about this earlier. and I think it would be funny if Roz had his like growth spurt very early, so he was like the tall kid for a while, but then it was like literally as tall as he was going to be. And now he's teeny tiny. I thought that would be a fun little thing. I have to darken this up a little bit more, unfortunately. I wanted to... It's always a little easier to try and figure out who is who when you have like consistent consistent colors and stuff to help at least. Since it's like nighttime, it's not really gonna work. I'm gonna have to put another thing on top or else it's gonna stand out as being too weird. Was there a reason for it? Nope. Not explained yet. It must have been something that happened when he was very young. Younger than he is here. Who knows what that will be? That's a mystery for another day. There's our boy. Clumsy alien abduction. Maybe. He hasn't on his fingers draw anything. Maybe it's Maybelline. Who can say for sure, honestly? the like difference between his eyes doesn't usually come fully into focus until I have to fill in the space around his pupils. Is that called the cornea? I think. If I really wanted to, what I could do here is just like copy and paste one of them and just like move it over. But like sometimes that doesn't work. See what it does here. Yeah, so like even though it's exactly the same, it still kind of looks weird for some reason. Like this one looks bigger. Which is most likely from the angle of the head and stuff. I always try to make Raz's eyes the easiest ones to draw, but somehow they always end up being the most difficult and annoying. I never quite get it exactly the way I want. Usually bothers me. I think that's fine. Good enough, I guess. I say before immediately going back to fix it. I want to give him some pants that are like the same as his hair color. Favorite part is the eyes. Yeah, eyes are usually really fun. Especially the big ol' anime eyes that have a ton of detail, because they can be really fun to just get lost in all the details, but usually I try to do simpler stuff for these boys because I know I'm going to be drawing them a lot more. And back when I used to have like a hard deadline of like, this needs to be done at midnight, oh, wait, hold on. Seeing some things in this background that I don't want. I was gonna group all those things, but right now I don't really care. Okay. this in. Okay. Let's grab lighter color. Oh yeah, that's one of the things that like one of the reasons that made me swap to this or made me start looking again for a different like screen sharing app to use for the iPad instead. Oh geez, instead, because being able to like show what my hand is doing is kind of important, but it just like changes the colors like so dramatically when you have a camera recording a screen. Unless you have like super ideal lighting conditions, which I do not have. Because I am not about to set up a whole DSLR and get a studio lighting set up for my already overcrowded desk. So yeah, it's usually like kind of a gamble for how crazy the color disparity is for recording on the little screen versus what it looks like on screen actually, you know? And hello to you too, also. Don't like this to be yeah. I also decided on a different thing, a different 90s thing. I decided to go with this mostly because it is a much less complex and involved thing to draw. It is not a Simpsons t-shirt. In about 2 seconds, you're gonna figure it out and you're gonna be like, oh, I see. The Intel Inside logo. Also good, but not quite. Need this to be a little bit lower here. on the colors now. It is happening. We're doing it. Yeah. Pretty good. I need go with this color. I lied. It would be this color probably. Take a week to decide to do colors. I am very like not super duper crazy knowledgeable about specifically what colors, but I'm usually pretty good at like getting in the ballpark. So I generally do that. I get as close as I can, usually pretty fast, and then I slap a bunch of like adjustment layers on top of everything to make it a little bit better. That is generally my secret. As long as you have like a very general like complementary colors versus analogous colors type of understanding of the color wheel, then you too can do all of the dumb stuff that I do. So relaxing. I'm glad that you're having a good time. I hope your work day went well. Looks weird, redo it. I mean, yeah, that's certainly something to do. Sorry, I was like really focused on that bandage there. That's one way to do it for sure. Like if it doesn't feel right, you can always just go back and change it, especially if it's digital stuff. You kind of always have that option. Be color. But in general, I mostly just kind of like grab color palettes from all over the place and just kind of hang on to them. If you were to like scroll through my feed of like all the things that I draw, you would see that it's like the same few color palettes just over and over again. Just because the ones that I've grabbed generally work for like most of the things that I draw. Tizzle, hello, welcome. But mine are usually sort of like sunsetty, outside in like summertime, daytime type colors, or like at night kind of colors. And for the, oh goodness, procreate, please. For the most part, you can, or at least I can get away with a lot of those a lot of the time. Sort of mixing them in various combinations, you know? So now I need to make this boy look like he fits in here with the rest of this. Soft light will do it. Come in here with this other pass on lights, or shadows, I should say. Actually, gonna rough in. Gonna mess with the specifics of this in a little bit. But what I'm doing right now is gonna be basically all of the parts of him that are not being lit up by the moon back there. Just darken, I guess. Supply is actually a little better. For the most part here, I'm just trying to think of like where this moonlight is going to be hitting. Trying to leave those spots kind of open and basically filling in everything else. But yeah, Aru, back to the color thing. I feel like I started talking about it and then stopped. There are like tons of tools out there to grab like color palettes from. I would highly recommend just like grabbing color palettes from somewhere and working with those, and then you can sort of adjust them as you need to. But for the most part, if you just kind of like pick up a few, just kind of hang on to them, you can make a color palette work for a lot of things. And you can't like copyright a color palette, so as long as it's not like you're copying someone's drawing exactly, or like they're painting or something, and pretty much work with whatever. In fact, there are like famous color palettes even that you can probably try. The only one that comes to mind currently is the Zorn palette. That one's basically just like red, yellow, black, and white. There's like a whole story about it. There's like a painter who like made it famous because of some ads that he painted. They were all with that color palette. It was like easy for them to replicate or something like that. It's like a very specific combination of colors, but it's famous. So people like still today even will challenge themselves to paint using that color palette, you know? So I say all that to say, if you don't like messing around with colors too much, there are plenty of resources out there. Mess with them slightly less. Bear Boy, hello! How are you? I think I'll do another quick little pass on the moonlight stuff. Just for the like very intense parts. Just popping in. Well, I'm glad to see ya. And I'm glad you're doing good. How did your crazy stream end up the last time? Was that the last time you streamed? Did you stream since then? I'm not sure. I don't usually have time to be on Twitch, except for the days that I stream. But you seemed like you were very tired, and then everything kept happening. Pretty good, but you're dying. I understand. I'm glad you made it through. You survived. Oh wait, I forgot about his jewelry. That's the other thing about the way that I usually color stuff is I'm very prone to forgetting things or changing my mind about stuff. So coloring in this way with all the layers that I use, really helpful for changing that sort of thing later on. Unlike folks who know what they're doing and have like a plan. Couldn't be me. Splendid. Well, thank you. I appreciate the kind words. I'm gonna duplicate that and then set it above the lines. set it to color dodge or something. Maybe like add even and just kind of blur it a little bit. You get that like nice little shine on there. Oh man, this whole turning layers on and off thing is a lot better with this setup when you guys can actually see the stuff that it does. I would do it before and it would be like nothing happened. What was that thing? Oh yeah, his jewelry. I'll put it here. I lied, I have to put it like 2 more above this. Okay. One of the things is on top of his shirt. Oh wait, I already have somewhere. This? Coloring is the best bit. It's alright. I don't like it as much because I'm bad at it, I think. I need this here. Put one of these here. This. That's that, I guess. And then we'll do an additional layer of color for the light that is from the flashlight. Most talented in regards to colors? No. I am definitely not. I just know a lot of cheats. Because I'm actually very bad at seeing colors. Come on. I'm what they call color deficient. Or like partially colorblind. I have like a lot of little shortcuts I just know about from the sake of practicality. I don't know if I like the way that this looks. I don't think I do. I don't know if it even needs to really be like that. Oops. Color schemes are beautiful. Well, thank you. One of those things that I've had to practice extra hard. But as a result, it makes it very difficult to traditionally work anymore, like with actual paint and stuff. took a painting class once and my teacher like yelled at me because I could not properly mix the colors that I needed. It's like using a color picker in digital stuff is like much easier to figure out than adding two types of paint together.
A fine kind of bear he turned out to be. He didn't even know how to act
Friend.
like a bear.
Hello. 5 whole months, wow. Teacher sounds deficient in empathy. Kind of, but it was mostly just because it was like, I want you to do better at this. And I was like, I literally cannot. I've done all that I can. I passed, so it was fine, but not arting correctly. No, okay, so like that is like a thing that I actually really do appreciate about the like professors I had, because when I initially like learned to draw, like up until a certain point in my life, until like high school basically, everybody was like very supportive, but in a way that looking back on it was like not the most helpful all of the time. Like I had an art teacher in high school, super duper cool. She was like one of those, like, you could tell at one point in her life she was a hippie kind of person, where everything was just like good. And as long as you like did something in the class, you got like a good grade, basically. Like as long as you made a project based on whatever the current assignment was, you would like get an A. Didn't really matter in terms of like the execution of it. It was basically just like, if you do the thing, you get the credit, right? So up until going to like art school, that was the only sort of like feedback that I had, basically. Which was like fine, and it was good enough to like keep me drawing and stuff, you know. Sorry. But then once I got to art school, I had a drawing professor who his thing was basically like, he was like the drawing teacher for all the freshmen, basically, who would go to this school. And I think about this every time I think about this teacher because it was very accurate. But like he basically started off the class, like his introduction to us was like, hello, you're going to hate me. I'm going to be your least favorite teacher during the time you are in this class. But as soon as you're out of this class, you're going to be like, wow, he was the best teacher I've ever had. And I think about that all the time because it was so correct. During the class, he was like very tough, and the reason he was to try and break you out of old habits that you are generally accustomed to as like a younger artist, quote unquote. So it would really very much be like, yes, you're arting in a dumb way, and let me tell you why, so that in the future you aren't doing it that way anymore and you'll like actually learn. So like 90% of the random art lessons that I pass on to you guys during these streams come from this person. Did I drink water today? I did, actually. I got a new water bottle recently. I've been trying it out. I don't know how I feel about it though. I don't usually drink this much water. Also, I'm doing well, friend. I hope you're also doing well. I don't know if you're still on stream, but if you are, hope you're doing well. But yeah, that dude was like super cool, and I learned a lot from his class. So anytime folks ask for like art advice, it usually comes from this person. So all that to say, like, yes, the phrase like "you're arting wrong" is comical on a certain level, but when it's someone who is trying to teach you a specific technique or approach, you can be doing it wrong. And the reason that they're generally trying to teach you those things is because it'll help you in the long run. So like me having those troubles with like mixing paint and stuff like that would have helped me for projects later where I had to think more critically about sort of arranging elements in the painting with one another, if that makes sense, and how the paint would interact when I would go to do like a full-on actual painting as opposed to just like random color studies, you know? I think this is good for the boy. I think this lad is fine now. I will add some additional outlines here. But yeah, because of all of my because of all my art teachers over the years, I'm always very like wary of giving people advice for art now. Because I'm never sure if they want like high school art teacher advice or like college art teacher advice, if that makes sense. Where it's like, do you want me to be critical in a way that will help you improve, or do you want to be supported and reaffirmed? Because that's one thing about art stuff, is that it's like you can be critical and like offer constructive criticism in such a way that it's like, well, I understand what you're doing and I appreciate the approach that you've taken. I may have done a different thing. Here's what I would have done. That doesn't necessarily make it good or like better, but it does help to offer like an additional perspective if your art thing is trying to accomplish a particular goal, right? So it's a lot easier to do for stuff like design, where if it's like a flyer for a concert, like you have a goal where it's like, okay, I need to make people come to this concert, and the feedback you get can come at it from that perspective of being like, is this going to help me to get people to come to the concert? Or which way would get me the most people to come to the concert based solely on this thing that I'm making? So in that sense, there's not like a wrong way, but there are more optimal more optimal paths to accomplish the goal, right? Whereas if it's just like, I'm just out here drawing a thing because I think it looks nice, then it's like, yeah, okay, cool, rad, you did it. You've done that thing. I really like the way you did this part of it. That's great. Keep it up. Whereas if someone is like, I've made this thing and I don't know how I feel about how I did this aspect X or something. It's like, how would you have done aspect X? Or do you perhaps have more specific advice about how to approach aspect X in the future? Right? So that's part of the reason why anytime someone asks for art advice, especially on here, I'm usually more likely to give it if you ask something very specific. The more information about the goal you're trying to accomplish, the easier it is to give like more constructive feedback that you can like take action with. If that makes sense. Because it's kind of hard to be like, in general, I do these colors because they look nice, and I think they look nice. Like, that's a different kind of thing than saying, I think you should use these colors because you're trying to do this. Like, you're trying to set this tone and achieve this mood. You can get a little more granular and specific with the feedback that you give that way. But also, it helps like the person receiving the feedback to understand that it's like, I'm not trying to be mean. That was probably the most important and influential thing that I learned at school, was just like how to receive and give critique. Like every art class was basically like broken up into 2 sessions over the course of a week. So like the first session would be like, we're making stuff, and then the second session would be like, all right, everyone put your stuff on the wall, and the whole class is going to talk about it. And be like, here's what's working, here's what is not working. And it kind of like helps to toughen your skin a little bit, to understand that like when people are giving you feedback, it doesn't mean like, it's not like a personal attack against you. We literally just want you to succeed, and we want to give you as much information as possible to help you achieve that goal. Like, it's not critique is not usually all about trying to just make you feel terrible as a person, right? But also in the same way, learning how to give feedback in a constructive and not like personal attack type way is equally important of a skill to develop. So yeah, feedback. It's important and stuff. There is a right way and a wrong way to art sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Depending on what the goal of your art is. Actually, I don't want to say that. I don't want to say it's wrong. It's success, like more and less successful, is what I'll say. Like, you can make anything work. But some things will work better than other things, depending on your specific use case or whatever. To more effectively convey existential dread. for that in particular, you would probably want to focus more on themes that invoke existential dread and focus more of your efforts on conveying those themes. I can't tell if this is a serious question or not, so I'm going to talk about how I might do that. Possibly using like more muted colors, more of like a darker atmosphere, probably. Maybe messing with scale in some way that sort of invokes feelings of like being overwhelmed. Those are generally themes that come along with existential dread in general. So implementing those sorts of things might help you to achieve that goal. Yeah, and also to Aru's point, yeah, having folks who can be there to give you that feedback is also pretty important. That was one of the like secret lessons that one of my professors taught us one time, was like, yeah, feedback is important and stuff, but like not everybody who gives you feedback is gonna have like, their feedback is not all equal. Like if you were to go to your painting professor to talk about a painting, their feedback would probably be a little more like good information than like if you were to just approach some rando in a Starbucks and ask them for their opinion. Like everyone has an opinion, but some folks are more likely to give you better advice and are more likely to express their ideas in a way that will make sense to you, I guess. Also, yeah, depression, I guess, helps with making existential dread as an art theme. Aina, hello. Hello, Ross, yes. Mad World Friend, hello, also. I'm never sure if I should call people by their screen names or their actual names. But hello. Tips on hands. Hands are hard. Still, for me even. And the reason that hands are hard is because you're constantly seeing your own hands all the time. So you are like hyper aware subconsciously of when things are not the way that they should be. So try not to get super like bummed out about hands is tip number one. No matter what you do, they'll probably still look a little bit weird unless you've only been drawing hands for the past few years and have put in like a serious amount of practice. The second is try to break them up into parts. I generally try to focus on like this section as one part, this whole section as another part, and then like each of the fingers as a third part. Proportionally, your fingers are generally about the same size as the palm of your hand, if that's a thing that's messing with you, like finger length. So if this distance is about the same as this distance, your fingers will be about this correct size. Generally, hands, when you're drawing them, can be sort of broken up as a short, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a there's like a shorthand for finger placement, I guess. Where you can kind of keep the fingers more or less grouped together. A lot of the time, keeping them all together like this makes them look very stiff. But unless you're like, if you're doing something very quick, you can kind of get away with that. But depending on the pose of the hand, you can sort of keep fingers grouped together. A lot of times, like for waving, you'll see like hands where these three fingers are together and the index and thumb are apart. Sometimes it's just the middle fingers that are together and these ones are all apart. But this is like, you're doing an open palm kind of hand. This is the one that you'll see most often in like cartoons and anime and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. That's about all I can think of off the top of my head. Again, if you have like a more specific example, I might be a little more helpful with that. But yeah. Knights of Zodiac structure? I'm not familiar with that. But yeah, thinking about it like mittens and then cutting up the finger part of the mittens is also pretty helpful if you're just sort of blocking in the shape of a hand. Usually pretty good. Also, I'm kind of procrastinating here because I'm pretty much done with this, I think. Could more intensely color this wee bit over here. Maybe not that color, maybe this one. I'm gonna bring this here. Put it below that flashlight layer, I think. Apply a bit. This is one of those like more subtle kind of things that harder to show on the camera down here, but now that I have this additional view, you guys can really. And so far this connection hasn't failed yet, which is nice. The reason that I didn't like using the one I was using before is because it would constantly drop the screen share thing. It would constantly fail, so I'm digging this one so far. If it's consistently like this, then this will be the setup for a long time. Gonna grab all these, come over here, hit copy canvas and paste. And what that does is basically grabs all the layers that I had selected and paste them as a single layer on top of everything else. I don't need it that many times. I'm going to duplicate it once so that I can add a gradient map and still have the normal color layer to go back to later. I think color dodge might be okay here. Maybe not. Maybe overlay. Turn it like way down. Gradient map that I'm using on this layer usually makes like your light colors lighter and your darker colors like way darker. You can kind of see the difference there. The next one I use probably be like this one. Ones usually affect these sort of overall colors. Overlay is not bad for this, I think. But it just sort of cools everything down a little bit more. Makes it a little more nightimey. And maybe I'll just do maybe this layer may not actually be doing anything, so yeah, it brightens it a little bit. Okay, I'll keep it. guess that's about all I'm gonna do for this. No, Roswell's the kind of kid who would actively go looking for weird stuff. You're correct. He's like the kid who would like go looking for bugs under rocks and stuff. Go on random adventures. Turn this way down. Yeah. Draw hell shapes first. Oh, like a I mean, I guess there is like a I put this on a new layer, I think. Actually, no. Maybe I'll just make it. Yeah, I'll do a new layer. It'll be part of the time lapse, but that's fine. Usually for like hands, you can kind of break it up into like a house shape a little bit. Put it over here, where it's like kind of a lopsided house, if that makes sense. Where usually you have like the index finger off from the rest of the fingers. And then the thumb kind of is over here doing its own little thing. If that's what you mean, then that also usually works. Usually more like that. But like that shorthand I was talking about earlier, you'll see hands kind of more like this shape. The fingers. Something like that. But even though it's not like the most accurate, usually that's the kind of shape that you'll see is that little kind of angle right there. Maximus, hello. You do not have to apologize, although we are pretty much done. Hit that that replay. You guys can watch it actually on the screen for once. Wow, amazing. But yeah, I guess this will be it for this one. I'll have to do another one of these boys the next time. But I'll have to take Roz out of the running because he got so many votes. He was like almost half in both polls. So lots of folks really wanted to see baby Roz, I guess. But yeah, he used to be skinny. That's why he has so many stretch marks. He used to be little and now he's not. But yeah, thanks everybody for hanging out. This one was fun. Got to do a nice little explorer. I should be back again on like Wednesday, probably. Hopefully. Maybe I'll do another flashback type of drawing. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe. Depends. Oh, I'll be more curious to see. I might do another poll next time because I'll be more curious to see who wins. It was very, very close between Kai and Junior. So we'll try see who of those two comes out victorious next time, I suppose. I'll keep Cecil in there just in case people change their minds, but He was very far behind everybody. They didn't seem to like him very much. But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next stream, I guess. So until then, have a wonderful week, everyone. Go out and do something really nice. You know? Just generally be very cool to someone. And, I'll see ya next time. Let's raid Gaby, the Void Hound. I always want to call him the Dog King, but he rebranded. He's not the Dog King anymore. He's the Void Hound. But we're gonna raid him. Because his stream's very chill also, usually. And sometimes also art happens over there. But I'll see you guys in the next one. If you want more art, you can find it on Twitter and Twitter and Instagram. I forgot to mention that earlier. Yeah. Check out those places for more art. If you want more art. And I'll be back again on like Wednesday probably. I don't know. Okay, goodbye. I'm so bad at ending streams. See you next time.